Welcome back to Diamond Niners Weekly. It's Thursday night, and once again, we are talking Charlotte 49ers baseball live from the Haze. This is Nick. I'm joined as always by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
And microphoneless producer Brad's in the back, making it all happen. All right, folks, got a big show for you tonight. As a reminder, before we get started here, we love it when you guys interact. So jump in the chat on YouTube, hit us up on Twitter, whatever works for you. Questions, comments, feel free to chime in. Heck, we even do shout-outs if you're just out there and want to be mentioned on YouTube once in your life. Let's do it. Let's make tonight the night. All right. A few reminders before we get in here, Kevin. I know we've been pumping this stuff out on Twitter, the ADS as well, but tickets for the Uptown game are on sale through the night. So you've already got your tickets, don't you, Kevin?
Right, yeah. There's for both of the games. They announced today that the Atlanta Braves are bringing their World Series trophy for our Friday night game versus App State. So
you can get your picture made with the World Series trophy?
Yes, yeah.
You're going to distract them while me and Brad will run off with it, or what?
I think they got some good eyes on it.
Yeah, they probably have some pretty good security around that. All right, cool. So check that out, Atrium Health Ballpark versus Campbell. That'll be a big game. Seems like Campbell got a pretty big win last night, if you were monitoring the scoreboards well. So that'll be a big midweek matchup. Pre-sale is already underway, and you can get those from the Cannonballers. Season tickets, you can still purchase those. Single game tickets, 10-game flex packs, 704-687-4949 is the ticket office. Seems like I say that a few times every show. Yeah. Or charlotte49ers.com, right? So get in there, get tickets, got a homestand starting tomorrow. And, heck, I think we're at home between now and, seems like it's almost the end of March. Huge 18, 19-game homestand. So great weather this weekend, by the way, folks. 71 degrees and sunny. So get on out here. As always, want to mention the Grand Slam Club provides great support for the program. You can get more information about that at charlotte49ers.com as well. Simple, folks. Donate funds, get gear, support student athletes. It's a win-win for everybody. Does that about sum it up, Kevin?
Yep. Your donation helps the Niners get towards Omaha, so.
Yeah, important stuff. Now, final reminder here. We had our first Saturdays at the Haze tailgate last Saturday. Couple shout-outs here to the athletic department, all our campus partners that helped make this happen. We've been trying to get some tailgate action going on here on campus for baseball for what, Kevin? It's
been a long time.
Over a decade. We've been working on this deal. And the last Saturday was first Saturdays of the Haze tailgate. We had a great crowd out. The game got moved to noon, and we can start 4 hours before first pitch. So noon meant an 8 o'clock tailgate. Were we out here at 8 o'clock in 34-degree weather setting up a tailgate? Yep. Yeah, we sure were. I think we were beating players here, right?
Yeah, I saw you guys say that.
we were beating players here. So anyway, don't worry about that cold because that's not what's happening this Saturday. It's going to be 71 degrees and sunny, and we should, with a first pitch at 3 o'clock, we should be starting at 11 a.m. for tailgate. So join us right out here in the Gold Lot, or Lot 23, right out in front of the Haze. Look for all the flags flying. We'll be somewhere near there.
Yep. Park in the deck if you have to and walk over. And we got coolers, we got grills. Just swing on by and say hello.
Yeah, they should also have some parking spots available, which Grand Slam Club members, parents, and season ticket holders all got an email with a link to purchase a parking pass. You can buy them by the game or for the season. So check that out. If you haven't seen it yet, go check your email. You should have something there. It's going to be a fun time, especially with the weather warming up. So, yeah. All right. I think that's all our reminders for this week. Let's jump right in here. Let's get to the fun stuff. So we've been working to bring you guys, and the staff and the players have been so great about working with us to get players on. You got to hear from Nate Furman 2 weeks ago. You got to hear from Austin Knight last week, and we're continuing that this week with sophomore left-hand pitcher Spencer Giesting, straight out of Hamilton, Ohio. How's it going, Spence?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Man, this is great. We're excited about having you here. Now, folks at home, we did you a favor because a couple weeks ago, a lot of great conversation happened between Kevin and Nate before we could even get on air. But this week they were starting to go down that road, and I just stopped them. I pulled you back, didn't I, Kevin?
Pause us a little bit. We still talked.
Don't waste this stuff. But Kevin still got his shots in. So, Spencer, this is the first time we've had a chance to have you on. Obviously, you're off to a great start this season, doing some impressive things. But we want to kind of go back and start a little bit in your past and work our way forward to this year. So I guess we'll start being out of Baden High School in Hamilton. You played for former 49er Brian Treadway. We're not going to ask you for an embarrassing Brian Treadway story, but talk a little bit about what it was like to play for Brian.
Yeah, it was awesome. Making the decision to go to Baden instead of the public school I was kind of supposed to was definitely, looking back, a really big decision. I played a major role in just the person I am as well as the player. And then on top of it, having the connection here at Charlotte was huge and allowed me to get down here and help the 49ers win some ball games.
Well, you're definitely doing that. And we'll talk more about that here momentarily. One thing we've talked to the guys about is just sort of how, and obviously I think we're transitioning here with playing for Brian, how Charlotte got on your radar and how that recruitment process went, and what was it like when you first heard from the 49ers?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was probably around my sophomore year, or at least the fall of my sophomore year, is kind of when I first kind of heard from him. And Coach Treadway had always talked about Charlotte and how great of a place it was and things like that, but never really crossed my mind that I might end up there. And obviously TJ Nickteen as well playing here. And so, I knew that there was a connection there, but I didn't really think anything of it at first. And then once I kind of heard from Bo and the old staff that was here before, I kind of was like, oh, maybe it is definitely a place I want to take a look at. And I came down on a visit with actually one of my teammates at the time in the fall, I guess, of my junior year. And then they saw me pitch in the fall that year as well. And Coach Doty came down and watched me pitch in the spring and, got another call from him and asked if I wanted to come on campus again. And, that's about it. I think you come on this campus and kind of fall in love with it. It's just gorgeous.
He did visit in the fall, didn't he, Kevin? It was a football game because we sort of inadvertently bumped into you. I don't think the statute of limitations is probably up. I don't think we're committing any NCAA violations here. We were saying hello to the coaching staff.
Brad flagged this tape.
Yeah, Brad, you may need to delete this later, but we were saying hello to the coaching staff, and you and your mom were down. I remember that we got a chance to say hello, and let's face it, that's probably why you came to Charlotte.
Definitely.
You mentioned TJ, and we've had TJ on the show. I don't know how many times.
He was our very first guest.
TJ was our very first guest.
Call in. Yes.
He called in on the phone one night, and we had him on. Was he at spring training? Maybe
he had just gone north after spring training.
Yeah, so we had TJ on. We won't ask for any TJ embarrassing TJ stories because we could probably tell our own, but we're not even going to get into that. But how much did you two cross paths?
Not too much. Definitely early on in high school, he'd come back a little bit, take BP and things like that. I actually ran into his dad a good amount. He's around the high school program and around the Hamilton area as well. He plays, a huge factor in a lot of kids' development early on, and so ran into him probably a little bit more than TJ. And then we had our alumni game senior year, seniors versus alumni, and got to throw against him, so that was cool.
What was the result?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking like we're gonna go. Yeah, the story keeps going, doesn't it?
Yeah, I got him to ground out to third. He might say it was a hit, but our third baseman kind of booted it. So he got on, but I got him to ground out to third.
Unearned, right? Well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're scoring that in error.
Oh, I am 100%.
Kevin, I don't know. Maybe we'll reach out to TJ and get a rebuttal. I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll leave it at that, man. We'll call it an error. Spencer, last year you had a great freshman season, true freshman. You were actually the first pitcher out of the bullpen in the very first game. Tell us about that, getting your first college action in the very first game. It's kind of odd there weren't any fans in the stands. I think Nick and I were standing over there behind the fence watching. But tell us about your first appearance as a freshman, your freshman year.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of something I wasn't really expecting, I guess. I knew I'd throw through a good amount in the preseason, but I wasn't really expecting to hear my name called right away. Obviously, Bryce had thrown great, and or I guess that was Lindsey. Lindsey threw great and got us out to a lead, and hearing my name called was awesome. And then you don't really realize how much adrenaline you have until you get out there. And, even without fans in the stands, still had a ton of adrenaline and, got a fastball up to 94, which before then had never thrown above 92. So that was pretty cool. But I think every time I throw here is really awesome. Throwing for this coaching staff, for the program is awesome.
Yeah, and you had a great journey through your freshman year. You were mostly active out of the bullpen throughout most of the season, and towards the tail end, you kind of got groomed into that starting role. Talk about that, the difference between preparing to come in as a reliever and against preparing to start a game for the Niners.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something you don't really realize is too different unless you're a real baseball guy. But it's definitely a little bit of a transition. It's more about the week, I guess, going up to it, preparing. You have the whole week to prepare. You're not throwing in a midweek game. You're not throwing on Sunday and then throwing on Friday. You got 7 days or 6 days to prepare for the next start. And, you kind of have to feel that out. How much throwing should I do this day? Should I lift this day? Things like that. So definitely takes a little while. And I think last year having a couple of starts definitely groomed me for this year.
Right. And so when you were a reliever, you're going into a 4-game weekend, you may be getting called twice during the weekend.
Yeah.
So you kind of always be alert, be
Definitely.
ready to go, so especially if you go on a Friday and you got to come back. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely something I had never done before. Obviously, a lot of pitchers who come play Division I baseball, you're probably a starter at your high school, at least your senior year. And so I'd never really been out of the bullpen too much, or at least multiple times in a weekend. So that was definitely something different as well. But, once you kind of get comfortable with how your arm feels and, making sure that your body feels good as well, you kind of just like, all right, sweet, I get to pitch twice this weekend. It's I think more of a positive than a negative for sure.
Yeah, you don't have to wait a whole week.
Definitely throw a good amount.
So coming off of that freshman season, just kind of transition forward a little bit. You got to go spend some time at the Cape this summer. It's on my bucket list to get up there. Still have not. But that's, talk about that experience. Everybody just raves about, getting to go up there and hang out and the just, all aspects of it.
Yeah, definitely. It was awesome. From my host family to the team to the guys I met, to the other team, the opponents you get to play. And, I think that really my host family kind of made it a really great experience, obviously on top of the team and, just playing with some really, really good baseball players. It's more of a learning experience as well because you just get to watch some really good pitchers, some really good position players, get better at their craft, perfect their craft. And on top of the fact, just living with, somebody you've never met before for 1 to 2 months, depending on how long you're there, is just amazing. And then playing every day, I think that's something a lot of people don't realize how grueling that can be. But, when you're around some really good baseball players, it's really fun.
It's got to be, it's definitely a different experience, but also, you're kind of away for the summer, right? And I imagine you weren't doing any summer academic work online or anything, so you were just playing baseball.
Yeah.
That's got to be.
Oh yeah, it's
definitely
definitely a transition there too. It felt like you were back in summer ball, when you're 16, 17 years old, and meeting new guys. Guys would come in every week, and it's definitely, you guys definitely got to get up there, watch a couple games, because it's the crowd, the atmosphere. It's amazing.
It's got to be. It's got to be fun. So,
Yeah, about the closest I've come is to watching that movie, Summer Catch. They,
Is that right?
I think
Yeah.
that's what it's called. It's something
Yeah.
they
like
show it on MLB Network all the time.
Yeah. So, well, summer plans?
Not sure yet. I actually talked to Coach Englert, my coach up in the Cape, and we're kind of going to decide just based on how many innings I throw this year
Okay.
and things like that. But he definitely said he'd be happy to have me back, so it'd be awesome to go back there again.
I'm sure he would, but we got stuff going on here first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned working with this coaching staff here. Talk about the development you had from the time you stepped foot on campus to now. I guess you missed out on your senior season pitching. You came here in the fall. It was your first time in competitive atmosphere in a long time. Talk about your development from day one to leading up to year two.
Yeah, definitely. I think, a lot of people kind of, dwell on missing that season and stuff. And, yeah, it really sucks. My high school had a really good squad. We thought we were going to do something special. And then, kind of it was almost like you got to move on a little bit quicker in terms of baseball at least. Just like for the guys that were playing college baseball, it's like, all right, time to, get groomed to be a college baseball player. Kind of learn the ropes of that, and going to P3 that summer was probably the biggest or the easiest way to do that, I guess. And then having players part of the program last year that were there that summer and getting to know those guys and getting to watch them and how they train, how they develop to be, better pitchers on a daily basis is definitely something I feel like, allowed me to come into the fall already maybe one step ahead of what I would have been. So I definitely think that was huge. And then obviously getting on campus here, we have the facilities, we have the development tools to make everybody better. And it's just about how you use them. And I think watching those guys that summer and then obviously in the fall helped a ton.
So with that and talking about the development and everything, and you started off this year working out of the bullpen a little bit, and then in the first weekend, and then last weekend you're right out there on the front end. So that's you've shifted over your focus, right? You're in starter mode now.
Mm-hmm.
You're ready to, it's a different mindset, like you said before, and you're ready to lock down on that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest, there's definitely a few guys I watched last year early in the fall and then obviously in the spring as well to kind of, or just pick their brain kind of about what they do on a daily basis. But, you got to go back to Bryce McGowan and figure out how that guy throws so hard. But, figure out how he does his thing every day. And obviously he made huge strides being here for 3 years. And so, I think after talking with him and, Coach Woodard, Coach Miney, I think I'm where I need to be as far as being a starting pitcher, and I definitely think that allows me to help the team win a lot of ball games this year.
For sure. So as a just in general baseball, you've mentioned several times you're looking at different guys and gotten to see some great pitchers. When you look at when you look at like Major League Baseball, who do you kind of model your game after? Do you look at certain guys?
I wouldn't say anybody like really in particular. I definitely have like a group of guys like, Walker Buehler has great stuff. I feel like at any point you could say I just want to throw hard or I want to throw hard like this guy. I want my fastball to be like this guy. But definitely think Walker Buehler is one of those that's up there, big time pitch mix with everything in the zone, everything out of the zone, I would say him and maybe like a Josh Hader type of fastball, just explosive stuff, electric type stuff.
Okay. So as always, we're gonna let these we like to get these young men off to their academic responsibilities. Yeah. Did you have one?
I got one like a little off the wall.
One little off the wall. Get your off the wall question. Then we'll talk about class, and then we're gonna get Spencer off to do his homework.
Notice you play basketball in high school. Give me your if you had a 3-on-3 tournament, what teammates are you picking to go with for taking on a 3-on-3 tournament?
Off the current team?
Current team.
Okay. I haven't seen everybody
staff.
play.
Or coaching staff. Oh, boy.
I've seen a good amount of guys play. Hale Sims is definitely one for sure.
He'd be a big man.
Oh yeah, Hale can play.
Just get it to Hale in the post.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I've heard really good things about Will Lancaster. Matt Brooks, I've heard is good. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd probably go with one of those two guys. Haven't really, I guess, thought about it too much, but definitely Hale Sims. Hale Sims is a monster. I play with him all the time at P3 that summer.
So if you had a 2-on-2, it'd be you and Hale.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were actually talking about it today. I was talking to him. I was like, man, we probably shouldn't go play basketball today, but today would be a nice day to go play basketball outside.
Yeah. Definitely wouldn't do that today.
No.
Thinking Matt's got to be like a point guard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he can shoot a little bit, dribble a little bit, so definitely could see that.
So are you the shooter in that group?
Yeah, I can shoot a little bit. I'm not great, but I can shoot a little bit. Got a little bit of athleticism in me.
So Matt's a floor general, and
Yeah.
Hale's kind of the pounder. Then he's kicking.
I'll
it
try
out
and
to you.
score. Yeah,
There
I'll
you
try
go.
and score.
Score, yeah.
All right, I like that. I can see it already. 3-on-3 tournament coming. I'm not signing. We are not signing up for it. We'll organize it. We're not signing up for it. All right. So one more thing before we let you go. We always let you guys talk a little bit about your academic pursuits, and you are a finance major, which was my first major at UNC Charlotte. So regardless of when baseball winds down for you, no matter what age you are, what's Spencer Geesting thinking about doing after baseball?
I haven't put too much thought to it, which I guess is probably not a good thing. But I definitely have a couple connections, I guess, in the finance world per se. But I want to be around the game as long as I can. Whether or not I use that finance degree, I guess, is to be seen. But definitely want to stay around the game as long as I can, whether that's coaching, training, anything like that.
Well, there's definitely baseball and money definitely go hand in hand, and well, sometimes they can't even decide what to do with it, right?
Yep.
If we're paying attention to news
Yeah.
stories lately. All right, Spencer. Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us. We're going to let you go get your homework knocked out so that you can hit the mound tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Great young guy here. Appreciate him stopping by, and come see him pitch tomorrow, 4:00. If you can get out to the Hayes. 4:00 tomorrow afternoon. You see him. He won't be hard to spot. He'll be up on the mound. So, good luck to you, and thanks for coming by, folks. We're gonna kind of put you on mute here for a minute while we switch out. We've got a couple coaches coming in here to spend some time with us next. So we'll be right back. All right, folks. Thanks for those words from our sponsors. Okay, we don't have any sponsors, but appreciate your patience there. We had to do a little equipment change, bring some chairs in, and get set up here. So this is big time. 2 coaches at one time. We're introducing y'all to pitching coach Austin Miney and director of hitting Phil Sebihar. What's up, fellas?
How's everybody doing?
Man, it's good to be on. It's good to see you guys today.
Yeah, good seeing you guys.
So this is like this has got to be a bucket list kind of thing, right?
Absolutely. Checking bucket list off right away. This is good. Start of the season. Get on here. Absolutely.
Well, actually, when we was talking to Woody about having y'all on today, he's like, "Oh yeah, let's have this guys." And, I said, "Are you trying to say that it takes 2 of them to replace what you do?" And, he never really answered, but I don't know. It's all right. Good to have you guys on here. For those that don't know, Phil is assistant coach and hitting coordinator from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Came to Charlotte after serving as a grad assistant at Arkansas, which I believe included a trip to where is it? Omaha.
That's right. 2019. What a great team that was. It was a fun experience with those guys.
So maybe we can get some Omaha insight from you. We've also got pitching coach Austin Miney, previously director of pitching performance and biomechanics at Premier Pitching and Performance in St. Louis. Which, if you're with us just now, you heard about Spencer Giesing talking about awesome time he had at P3, which is where I believe all the guys met you. Correct?
That is correct. That's the story. Was fortunate to link up with Coach Woodard when he was hired back in the summer of 2019. Back then, I was working at P3. We had just started our collegiate partnership program, and man, it's a cool story. It's a cool story, and I mean, blessed to be here 100%. But it was good. It was a pretty unique situation because I got to meet all the guys, meet all the coaches through working with them at P3, and then had the opportunity to jump on ship here at Charlotte. So it's been a great ride.
And they, I believe this was during the era of the Zoom call. I believe you were announced. It was kind of a surprise, right?
Yep, sure was. Man, the era of Zoom calls. That was a fun time, but it's a fun time. But
try doing this show via Zoom.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, the personal connections are so much better. But yeah, that first team announcement was pretty cool. Got to jump on the call with all the guys, and I'm pretty sure we screen recorded it, and that's a video that was I will always be pretty special to me. So it was cool. It's a cool moment.
All right. So did you think you were going into college coaching? Was that the goal, or did that just was that an opportunity that presented itself? Obviously you were sort of living a baseball life, right? That was your focus. But was this an avenue that you had considered before this?
Yeah, I think most players, they start off in the game and they have 1 or 2 dreams. It's to either play in the big leagues or to help guys get there and coach guys along the way. And for me, I was not a very talented right-handed pitcher, so I had to learn everything I could to squeeze every bit of juice out of my personal career, and learned a whole bunch along the way, and found a lot of value in sharing my information with others. So that's how coaching started, and it was just awesome to get my feet wet at P3 and then jump on here.
Well, I'm definitely not going to judge your throwing ability because you saw me throw last Friday, right? And yeah, so anyway, we don't even want to discuss that anymore. Kevin did all right though, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a good strike.
The goal was to hit leather, right?
Yeah.
We hit leather, and that's all that counts. And I saw a picture of us where we actually looked like we knew what we were doing a little bit.
They said the TrackMan doesn't pick up data if it's below 35 miles an hour. So
Is that true? TrackMan doesn't pick up below 35, so that's why there was no data on us.
Pretty sure we had it in pregame mode then, but it's all good. We'll get you guys on a plyo program here in no time. We'll get you in the mocap day next fall. That could be that could be fun.
Yeah, we'll actually throw off the mound next time.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll back those first pitches up to 60 foot 6 inches next time.
For those who don't know what we're rambling on about here, Kevin and I were honored enough. We were fortunate enough to throw out the first pitch here opening day at the Hayes last weekend, and I we hit leather. That's right. In fact, Coach Monty stopped by beforehand and said, "Hey, would you like to work out with a plywood ball?" And I said, "Yes." About 20 years ago. It's too late, but whatever. We did it. It was a cool deal. All right, so Phil, so kind of similar question. What was your pathway into coaching? How did you? I mean, was that? I know similar deal. You have a playing career, and you're kind of thinking, I want to stay involved in baseball. But what was your thought process?
Yeah, kind of the same as Coach Monty. Not a very good right-handed hitter. Right-handed hitter that can't really play defense, so there's really not a bunch of playing time for that guy. So I spent a lot of my time actually coaching first base my last year of college, and it kind of like pushed the envelope forward to get into coaching. I had a great college experience at Arkansas Fort Smith, which led me to the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville, where I spent, a couple of years being a GA and being around some good guys and learning from some really good coaches along the way. And, I think early on in my college career, I knew I wanted to coach. So it was an opportunity I had to jump on and, try to take full advantage of it while I was there.
Kevin, I knew that me and Seb had a connection here, and I just figured out what it is. Right-handed hitter, not very good at that, not very good at defense. That's me. That's my baseball story, Kevin.
We can all relate.
Some more than others, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, at least you guys got to hit because, when you're pretty light in the stick, you get pushed to being a pitcher. So, you guys got that over me.
At least we got to take BP. That is a good point.
That's
you get
true.
to take BP every day. So.
That's apparently like a big deal, right? Because when at the first pitch dinner, it was Mr. Knight was bidding on time in the hitting facility or taking BP, and he said he was going to give it to the pitchers, and they all went crazy. They're just not allowed to. I guess they just don't have time and focus to do that.
They got a lot of other things to work on, right?
I don't know. You ask him. He's the pitching coach.
Only allow a certain amount of hours, right?
That's right. Certain amount of hours, focus practice, but, maybe, I'll go on the record and say, put up some shutouts, pitchers beeps, not out of the question. Not out of the question. It's a little incentive we keep for them. So, we throw it well, pitchers beeps are on the table.
I know Hale's a big lefty, I know, so I'd like to see him hit the ball.
Hale can hit some nukes.
I've seen him play golf. He smoked the ball on the golf course. So.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Phil, I wanted to ask you a question about you coached down in the Dominican Summer League with the Cleveland organization. Talk a little bit about that experience you had as a professional coach.
Yeah, that was a great experience for me. I got the opportunity to go down to the DSL the summer of 2019 and spend basically a year with the Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians. And that experience was great. It was a learning experience for me. The communication aspect was something to cross over, but it's a league that's full of young talented kids, 15, 16, 17-year-olds that are learning how to play the game of baseball still. So it was a very, very impactful summer for me, learning how to communicate well, learning how to instill a philosophy, and get these younger kids to mold what the organization eventually wanted. And that was, an organization that was very prideful about swing decisions. And so it was a very, laying the groundwork of how to develop zone awareness, strike zone discipline, and finding a way to work counts. And so it was great. I still talk to some of those kids down there, and some of them are actually playing in Kannapolis here in, every other month or so. So I got to see some of them in August, which was really cool for me to go up there and see them.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That whole setup down there, right? That's like a baseball nirvana, right? It's
incredible. You can, there's a couple teams that are in San Pedro, which is about, an hour from Santo Domingo, the capital, but most of the teams are pretty much outside of the capital, Santo Domingo, so you're 5 minutes away from the Cincinnati Reds, complex, the Baltimore Orioles complex, and so on. So you can, any baseball fan, I think, should go spend, a week down in the Dominican and go see baseball at all those complexes, because it's probably the rawest, but also kind of a very, very cool brand of baseball that you'll see down there.
So we need to add that to the bucket list right after. We haven't been to the Cape yet. We told Spencer that. We haven't been to the Cape, and we need to go to DSL too. So
I'll speak a little bit of Spanish, so.
Do you?
A little bit, yeah. Un poquito.
There you go.
You're hired. You're my
There you
translator.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Well, Coach Monty, so when you made the transition, you spent a summer working with our guys, a number of our guys, before you came on full time here. So talk a little bit about what you tried to specifically bring from your P3 experience to as far as pitcher development here at Charlotte. What'd you kind of put in the suitcase and bring with you?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. At P3 and being able to be in the private sector and being able to be in that realm of development. I mean that's what you do all day. So you develop a pretty good tool belt as a coach. One, learning how to communicate technology, how to look at each individual pitcher as their own self. Learn what makes them tick. Learn how they move. And really take an individualized approach to each guy. You really bring that with you, and you learn how to communicate that within a multitude of different ways. So, as far as the transition, definitely keep my roots in terms of what I had learned and practiced at P3, and that was taking a pretty holistic approach to player development and pitching development. So, I will say that what's possible in terms of pitching development is, well, it's not possible without a coordinated approach with Eric McKibben, our director of human performance here, and so really, being able to coordinate, when guys are throwing with how much they're lifting, that's a huge piece of development, and it's one that's pretty overlooked sometimes too, where managing arm health and managing fatigue throughout the course of a season, and being able to put all those pieces together in a plan that spans from when players show up in August to before they leave for Christmas break, and then being able to bring them back after Christmas break in a good place where they can get on the field and compete right away. So really everything that we do from a pitching side is not possible without the work of Coach McKibben, but also our trainers, and really all the support staff, because it takes everybody, and that's probably the main piece that I would say, that I learned from P3 is it's not just what you do, throwing the baseball. It's, how you take care of your body, what you're doing in the weight room, sleep, nutrition, all of it, because everything matters. There's no detail that's too small that can be overlooked when it comes to winning games.
Yeah. So, kind of same question for you again, Coach Seb. What making that transition from Arkansas to Charlotte? What when you got here and kind of got your feet on the ground and kind of made some assessments? What's the thing you said? Okay, here's what we need to add this to the mix. We need to bring here's what I'm bringing to the table.
Yeah, I think for me it's all about scoring runs. That's kind of the job. We need to find a way to score runs with the personnel that we have. And so looking initially at the roster coming to Charlotte, it looked like we had a lot of guys coming back that had some power. And it looked like we had a lot of guys that could find a way to put the bat on the ball. So the emphasis this year was really developing zone awareness, finding ways that they can lay off pitches, eliminate parts of the zone. So we utilized a bunch of resources for that, and that's kind of the theme of practice throughout the fall into the winter and into the preseason was letting guys understand where their zone's at, where they make better decisions at, where they probably shouldn't swing the bat, and helping them develop their approach that way in order to maximize when they do swing the bat. And on top of that note, just kind of developing the relationship with the players. There's a lot of good hitters that are returning from last year's team, and kind of building that relationship with them and helping them in their personal career in a collective unit.
I'll say, and this is already a theme that we've noticed this season, just the plate awareness and the plate discipline is phenomenal with this lineup. We got, as you said, we got a lot of guys that can really swing it, but we're drawing walks at an amazing rate. I think David's on base percentage is somewhere hovering around 600 right now, and as our friend in Canada put it, the pitchers are respecting David. Yeah, they're respecting, right?
Yes.
What did we say that was around here? Scared. Yeah. In Canada they call it respect, and down here in the South we just say they're scared.
Well, the play awareness is good because when our guys take a pitch and the umpire calls it a strike, we know when we're yelling at the umpire that we're right because our guys have such great player awareness, right?
Well, I don't know who I'm going to use it with, but it might be Nate I don't know. I'm going to use this with somebody, but I'm going to let an umpire know at some point that I know that wasn't a strike, because if it was, he'd swung. I'm just, I think that's actually borrowed from, I think that's part of a Tony Gwynn story, but I'm going to adapt it here. It's like, there's no way. If it was a strike, he'd have swung at it. Oh, anyway. All right. Well, we've had people ask us about this, and this is right up your alley. So some of the guys in the on deck circle this year are warming up or getting loose with something that looks like a lot like a golf club. So is that this is in your wheelhouse? Is that something you found, or where did that? What's the origin of that particular piece of equipment?
The origin of the philosophy comes from kind of the overload underload principle, which you overload kind of a bat to create a little bit more force. You underload a bat to kind of create more speed. And so over the course of the few years, kind of some things that I've found is putting something lighter in a guy's hand on deck actually creates higher bat speed in a short window. So kind of the incentive of swinging a lighter bat on deck actually speeds up your bat speed in about a 5 to 8 minute window, which usually that's when the at-bat comes in. So we've been, training it since day one, since we've got here, about swinging underload bats kind of before the point of competition. And, the golf club, it is a golf club. It is actually a golf training device, Super Speed Golf Club. If you guys want to send another one, we'd appreciate it. Trying to plug you guys up right now. Great company. Dave's taken to it. Cam Fisher and some of our other guys have taken to swing that on deck to kind of get their body loose and feel them moving fast before they step in the box.
So the data, and this is what all this stuff. We could go on for hours talking about just the technology angle of it, but the data actually says 5 to 8 minutes is the window of effectiveness for that method.
When we ran the specific study at the University of Arkansas, it was the next 2 rounds, and the 2 rounds usually take about 7 minutes to accomplish. It was a group of 4 guys. We circled them in and out over the course of a 5-pitch round, like a normal BP round, and it was about a 7-minute window that we could keep the bat speed above the threshold. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. And I know there's more studies out there that haven't got into that supports that as well, but that was an individual study that we have that I've had done that shows that swinging something lighter before you go to bat is actually a better idea than the traditional throwing the donut, swinging the heavy club around. So
would you do one or the other, or do both, or?
Yeah, so I think
when you're on deck,
mm-hmm.
not in training, but when you're on deck, would you go to both, or is it just kind of a feel for?
I think it's a feel, and I think it's a personal preference. We still have guys that swing heavier bats, and that's something that I'm not going to take away from them. It's probably something they've done their whole career and they're comfortable with. But definitely something to get them moving fast before the point of competition is something that I would I recommend, and I like our guys to do. I like all hitters to do.
And on the pitching front, something we've kind of noticed differently is working with the plyo balls in between the inning with a pitcher, kind of keeping that arm limber. I mean, that's a more recent development as far as training techniques for a pitcher, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm thinking about growing up. The pitcher just goes in the dugout and puts the jacket in one. Then puts his arm in one sleeve of the jacket or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, especially, keeping the arm loose, keeping the body going is a main priority, especially early in the year as we're still, increasing our workloads. Starting pitchers are, starting from, week 1 to 80 pitches, like to 90 to 100, plus beyond that. So really taking care of our arms throughout the course of the year is a main priority. The plyo balls are a great tool for that. They help to, one, just be sure that we're still going through the full range of motions. Especially because, like if you put up a long inning, right, and, the pitcher's sitting in the dugout for, 15, 20, 25 minutes, it's easy to kind of cool down, like stop sweating. So, it's important for our pitchers to, keep the arm moving, keep the blood flow going, helps them go through, full range of motion at the shoulder and just keep everything intact. We've actually seen that start to expand out to our catchers. We've seen some of our, position players doing that as well. So, it's good for those guys just to keep moving around, keeping, especially with the plyo balls. Typically they're more overload plyos. So, they aren't getting the actual, complete stress of a baseball. just because the arm's not moving as fast as it would, compared to a 5-ounce ball. But it's a great tool just to keep the arm loose and prepare the shoulder for activity. Because especially between innings, you get a couple, like if you're a pitcher coming out for your second inning, you get 5 pitches. If you're an outfielder or position player or catcher, right? I mean, if somebody gets on and you're the catcher and like you haven't cut one loose and, a couple innings, like, it just, decreases your odds. So just staying ready to get ready.
I'm gonna give you guys a chance to talk about some of our guys so far this year. We're 8 games in. Tell us what you've been impressed with so far on our pitching staff, Coach Miney.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a ton of names to name. We've had some guys who have really started to show out and make a name for themselves, and really started to do, take the steps to take this staff to the next level. I think like the efforts by our starting pitchers has been phenomenal so far this year. Spencer Geesting, Cameron Hansen, Will Lancaster. Those guys are putting together quality starts, day in and day out, week in and week out. And being very efficient attacking the strike zone. That's been a big focus for us, from day one in the fall, and then carrying that over into the preseason. So those guys have been doing a great job of, filling up the strike zone and, just really, forcing contact because we have a really good defense. Coach Woodard talks about it all the time, right? We're a program that, prides ourselves in pitching and defense. So, for those guys to go out there and do their job day in and day out, it's been phenomenal. And, like to work quick innings, keep the defense, from being on the field too long. So, making use of our defense is a big priority. Colby Bruce has been absolutely awesome for us. I know that all of Niner Nation's just pumped to see him back in, definitely back in the uniform and showing what he's capable of. So, Colby Bruce has been, like a big piece of our bullpen. Really pumped to see what Tony Rossi and Michelson have been doing, especially coming out of the bullpen. Those guys have been electric. As fans who've been in the stadium know, like those guys get pretty hyped up between innings. There's a ton of energy on the pitching staff. I'm definitely going to leave some guys out.
Tony bounces into the game, doesn't he?
He's got a lot of energy.
He comes out of the when that gate swings open. He's like, it's like a ball of energy comes bouncing out, and he's fired up, man.
He gets after it, and he competes as hard as anyone. Does. Colin Kramer. Kramer's been fantastic. Had a great outing last night. Just keeping guys off balance. Colin Kramer's an awesome story. I got to work with Kramer back at P3 actually when he was still at Nyack, but before he committed to Charlotte. So it was awesome, just to see his development from, a junior college pitcher in Iowa. Seeing him come in and work his tail off at P3 for a whole summer. Go out in the fall at Nyack and really compete and show well, and then get an opportunity to come here and play at Charlotte. So, it was really cool to see him, like from where he started, and then just to see his development. Same thing with Michael O, too. Michael O has been great coming out of the bullpen for us. He's a seasoned veteran, and he's another really cool story, too. Coach Woodard had recruited him at UNC, didn't get the chance to coach him at UNC. I had crossed paths with Mike O. I think that was the summer of 2018, when he was still at Nyack before he went to UNC. Had the opportunity to train him in our P3 summer program there, and form a relationship with him, and then got to see him when we went up to Chapel Hill last spring, and then it was a really cool full circle moment for him to get back on staff and be able to coach him on the field. So Michael O has been awesome.
Picked up a big save on Saturday.
Big time save on Saturday. Made two appearances that day. And I think that's a great point just for our pitching staff as a whole. These guys are tough. They're a tough, relentless group. There's not a single one of them that doesn't want the ball on any given day. And they all have each other's backs. And are pumped for each other's success. So, man, it's just such a fun group to be around every day. I mean, those guys teach me something new every day, and man, it's a pleasure. Like this group's special.
Well, it's cool that Michael's dad was here as well, and he was fun. He was almost as fun to watch as Michael pitching in the stands. He was a bundle of nerves. It's I always I always feel it's interesting when Kevin and I were talking about this the other day when we started this years ago. I kind of used to think about what it would be like to be one of those guys out there on the field, but now all these years later, I now identify more with the parents. Yeah. I start thinking about how would I feel if I was the father of one of these, because let's face it, at this point my daughter's closer to their age than way closer to their age than I am to theirs. So your perspective just changes. So let's flip that around. Take Kevin's question there, Phil, and apply it to the hitters. You got to think about it while Austin had to answer. So we need to switch that around next time and let him go first.
Yeah, no, collectively, it's been really cool to see, like you guys have mentioned, and hopefully, I know you guys have, and some of the fans have observed, the plate discipline has been really on point this year so far. And over the past few games, seen it ebb and flow with the circumstances of the game and circumstances of the matchups and different teams that we're facing. We're adjusting as we should. So that's been really fun to watch top to bottom. And, you got to give credit to some guys like J.D. Suarez and Huck Wathen stepping in over the past few games with some things that we've been dealing with injury-wise, and step up and be ready to go. I think that's a testament to the depth that we have. We've got a lot of guys. We have 17 hitters that are ready to go at any moment. They're working every single day. I remember J.D. Suarez and Huck working opening weekend. They didn't get in there down there in Tampa, and they were ready to go come back to Charlotte. And it's a testament to our offense of everybody's working hard. They're working on the right things, and they're ready for their opportunity. And that's kind of the mentality that we've had since day one. We're a fearless bunch that's going to work on the right things, and that's been my impression so far of our guys.
You have to know that that's going to pay off down the line, especially when some of those young guys get their number called so early like that. Spencer was talking here earlier last year. He wasn't really thinking day one he was going in after Bryce, but he got his number called and he's like, okay, let's go. And like guys like Huck and JD and I think I think Grandy's gotten an at bat or two, Tyndall as well. But when guys go down, it's next man up, and you got to be ready. And the experiences that primarily Huck and JD are getting here on the front end are going to pay off down the line. Huck's been effective behind the plate. Host a couple runners last night. JD got his first hit this week and his first home run. First homer against Gardner Webb on Tuesday night. So, that's experience. You can't place too high a value on that.
Right. You had to do it so close to home. It was a Charlotte kid, both Charlotte kids, really.
Two Charlotte kids at that.
Yep.
Yeah. How cool is that? Last night, not only were JD's parents sitting in the stand, but there was his high school coach sitting right there with him. So it's, there's a value on that. It's really cool.
Right. You want to jump ahead to?
Yeah, let's talk about let's go. We're going to talk about last week a little bit, and then we promise, folks, we're going to get you a scouting report here on the Western Illinois Leathernecks. I'm going to slow that down, make sure I say that. The Western Illinois Leathernecks. I don't know how I didn't look into this. I don't know how they got to be the Leathernecks, but that's pretty cool sounding.
Yeah.
I'm for that. I think that sounds awesome. So let's take a look back here at the week, the week that was, so to speak. Home series last weekend against West Virginia. Big time program, big time opponent. First of all, before we even go any further, we need to talk about the crowds, particularly the student section all weekend. Started great on Friday, continued on through the weekend. Students have been rocking so far this year. I think we need them to keep that up.
Right. They started in football, and they showed up for football, and they've showed up for basketball. Now they're bringing that to the Hayes, and it's incredible to see. And they're bringing a lot of noise, and they're definitely getting in some people's heads over there, I think.
Oh yeah, because when people, I don't know why people don't understand this, or they do and they don't care. But the worst thing you can do to a heckler is let them know you're listening. When they're doing the left-right on the way back to the dugout, and you stutter step them, all you're doing is saying, "Hey, I'm listening." It's like you just ordered more. You just ordered more of the same. You just sent out for it, and they're certainly going to deliver it. But it's been. You're right, Kevin, and I think it looks like we need to track this down. But it looks like maybe there's really a handful of guys or guys and girls that are kind of leading that charge, and maybe there's even a Twitter account or two that's out there that's kind of organizing some of this stuff. And whoever you are, you're awesome. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
We definitely need to hook up with those folks. And
we'll eventually, yes, we will eventually have to figure out who they are. And hey, I bet they like tailgate, which would only help things. So West Virginia comes in here, tough opening night game, winnable game. Just breaks don't go our way. That's baseball. Saturday ends up being a doubleheader, and that's always a long day for everybody. 18 innings of baseball. The game one just really does not go our way at all, but the guys bounce back in game three and come back and just grind it out. That's all I can say. It was just gritty and just ground out a W in game three. And really, when you look back on it from both your perspectives, I mean, I want to hear what you had to say. But I mean, that's one break here or there, and that's a winnable series. I mean, it's
two one-run games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, that's kind of like the young guys having to step in and play, early. These types of, Tampa was a regional environment. Last weekend at the Hayes felt like a regional environment too. I mean, just as far as the level of intensity and what, the stakes that everybody was playing with. So, from both your perspectives, just kind of reflect a little bit on WVU weekend.
Yeah, West Virginia was a really good team. They came in here and, they were able to run, they were able to pitch, they were able to play defense, and they were able to hit. They were kind of a complete team. That's a testament to the players and coaching staff that they had. And, like you kind of said, it felt kind of like a coin flip all weekend long. It was two evenly matched teams, and a break here and a break there. It could have gone either way. They were able to get us on Friday night, and, it's hard to win a Division I college baseball game, and it's hard to win two in one day. Things didn't go away game one, but we fought like heck game two, and we were able to find a way to get it done. Our bullpen came in and closed it out with Michael O pitching twice in a day. And, Coach Miney mentioned it earlier. It was really fun to watch the toughness of our pitch staff come in and get it done in game two. And, we saw a lot of things that are good, and saw a lot of things that we're going to build on moving forward. And so that was a great weekend for us. A lot of lessons learned on Friday and Saturday of that series.
They're definitely going to win a lot of games, West Virginia. I mean, they're scrappy. They put a lot of pressure on you, the speed. And I kept thinking, just as the games progressed, I kept thinking, oh, well, okay, that was a good arm, but do they have another one? And then they did. And, their closer, and he was the guy they brought in, he was pumping some heat. So, yeah, tip of the cap, right? But we touched on Michael O, and we saw Michael in the parking lot after the game. He had the lineup card in tow, so that was cool. That was a cool moment. That was his trophy.
Deserved it.
Yeah, he sure did. But Coach Mighty, from a pitching perspective, what were your reflections on last weekend?
Yeah. I mean, Coach. Yeah, I mean, Coach said it well. I mean, Coach Mazey's bunts over there at West Virginia. I mean, they're a very, talented team, and a team that is going to do some pretty cool things this year. And they were, definitely a good, test for us out of the gate here at home. And like Coach said, I mean, there's a lot of lessons learned this past weekend. One of those lessons learned being, and we talked about it with our pitching staff, and really the whole team after the series, just reflecting and learning on the weekend is really what it takes to like being a team unit in terms of controlling the running game, being a team unit on defense, because they're a team. I mean, it's not as common anymore, like to see like more of the small ball, especially in college baseball, but they were a team that knew who they were. They were a team that executed their game plan at the plate extremely well. And there was definitely some good takeaways, for us, the pitching staff, to learn. I mean, that was a group all weekend long was, very tough to strike out. I mean, that was a group all weekend long that put a lot of pressure on pitchers to, not only get ahead in counts, but like to finish with their best stuff. So they were a group that was very scrappy with 2 strikes. So I mean, it was good for us to get that test, here at home because good college baseball teams, like, they put the ball in play, they put a lot of pressure on the defense, and they make you beat them in more than one way. So I thought West Virginia did a very good job of exposing some things for us that we can continue to work on, as well as some other ways to just control our tempo. We talk a lot about on the mound, right? Like, we want to have a slow heartbeat. And there was definitely times throughout the whole West Virginia series that hopefully the people in the stands could feel it too. But there was a lot of big moments in those games.
Yeah.
Like a lot of moments that could turn one way or the other, just like you guys were saying. So it's good for us to be exposed to that early, and for us to learn from those opportunities on the mound. Because at the end of the day, it's it's man versus man. Like a guy with a ball and a guy with a bat. And if you can have calm, controlled aggression, and put that in the right places, then we're going to have a lot of success. So we talked a lot about just slowing the game down, controlling the heartbeat, so that way we can just continue to have a lot of focus and poise on the mound.
That's what we're going to focus on now. That's going to be what we focus on in the stands, Kevin. Slow heartbeat, because I definitely from time to time get, I'm out of whack. I need a mound visit or something. Somebody needs to. We'll be accountability partners.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, we can do that.
I don't know how much I want to help you with that.
Well, when I start yelling at if I'm yelling at an umpire or something like that, you probably need to come get me. But we'll get to that in a minute. So good week. I mean, it was a good weekend, opening weekend here at the Hayes. Could have gone either way. Didn't go our way. That's baseball, all right? You go away and you work on it. Didn't have much downtime there. You did have Sunday, since we had a doubleheader and the weather was so bad on Sunday. But you had your Monday off day, and then Tuesday you're right back here at the Hayes for Gardner Webb. Scrappy team, but still you could see our guys starting to build some confidence, particularly at the plate, starting to get some guys going. We got. Really, the big one, the first thing that comes to my mind is we started to see Butch get going. Butch has been working through things start the season, and in that Gardner Webb game on Tuesday night, we saw, I think, 4 home runs in that game, I believe. 2 by Dave, 1 by JD, and 1 by Butch. But that ball Butch hit, you
could stand and watch.
Yes, that was violent. that was a violent swing. But yeah, there's other guys here throughout you get the boxing gloves. We asked also, you talked about the boxing gloves, but who actually got the boxing gloves? Where did they come from?
I'm not entirely too sure. I just know Austin Knight showed up one day with some golden boxing gloves. He was very proud to show me, and I just kind of smiled and said, "That's on you guys. That's y'all's thing." So that was kind of cool to see him bring those out, and it's kind of cool to see those guys. Obviously it's really fun to see them all excited after hit, but they get really excited after home runs, and it's cool to see.
Yeah, that was that, and one of the if I read his lips correctly when Dave hit that opposite field home run, his second one, pretty sure when he got back to home plate, he said, "I missed it."
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the trajectory of the ball, what it did, okay, he did, but still, can you imagine missing a ball and it being a homer?
Yeah, he muscled that one out. The opposite field, we had a great view down the left field line. That was amazing to see that one. That was just power.
Now, his first home run, did you know we had a research department?
Here?
Yeah, we have we don't have the budget for a research department, but we have a research department. I have it on good authority that is the first home run Dave has ever hit off the batter's eye here. He's hit tons of home runs. They're always to one side or the other, typically the power alleys, but that was the first ball he had bounced off the batter's eye. Look, I didn't come up with that. It's the research department.
Okay.
So, it is what it is. But these weekday games, we're going to talk about the last night here at the Hayes with Purdue in a second, but I mean, these weekday games are kind of sometimes can get lost in the mix. People kind of get focused on the weekends, but I mean, a lot of times that's really where your season, those are important as far as that handful of wins at the end of the season that you need to get whatever seed or whatever positioning you're trying to get. The weekdays are very important, right?
Back to Gardner Webb on the pitching side. Can't talk about Gardner Webb without talking about Matt Brooks. He
Yeah.
had a great. I mean, like somebody else said, vintage Matt Brooks. I think it was you, Nick. And he,
Whoever said it, it was right. It was vintage
I
Matt
mean,
Brooks.
He ate up
It
what,
was.
six innings.
3 hits, racked up
No
the
runs.
Ks, racked up the Ks. Man, I told you guys that I was going to forget someone and leave someone out. Yeah, and that was Matt Brooks.
We were saving it for this.
We
Yeah,
got
yeah,
you. We're
yeah,
here.
absolutely. You guys got me.
Team effort.
But man, like Matt Brooks, like, I mean, heck of a job there on Tuesday night. You know, yeah, like you guys talked about, like those midweek games, like they're tough, like they're battles. You know, they're games where it's a short turnaround from the weekend, and you know, there's not going to be as much, you know, say pomp and circumstance. You know, during the midweek games, sometimes they get lost in some of the attention, but yeah, I mean, they're great opportunities to win. They're great opportunities to learn. You know, and they're great opportunities to tune up for the weekend. And man, it was just, you know, great to see Matt Brooks get going out there on the mound, you know, Tuesday night against Gardner Webb. Yeah, just like talk about putting guys in a hole right out of the gate. I mean, filling it up with strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Like it was really good to see him get going. I mean, that's the Matt Brooks that we all know and love. So was great to get him going. You know, and I think the guys feel that too. You know, like the guys feel that. I mean, you know, he's the leader of this program. He's the leader of this staff. You know, so it was awesome to see him get back to doing his thing.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what that was is and I'm not going to have my years right, but you know, he battled through the injury and he's had several different things go on. He's had to come back, you know, a couple different times from things, but that was turn back the clock. It was turn back the clock night at the Hayes on Matt Brooks because that was like, what would that have been, like 2018? Would that have been 2018 Matt Brooks? 2019. I mean, it was
2021 Matt Brooks. I mean,
Yeah.
shoved against Old Dominion.
Yeah, and
yes,
Maryland.
sir.
Shoved against Maryland.
Yeah, that it was. I loved it. I loved it. It was so great just to watch because you could see. I mean, he was just, and you talk about low heart rate. I mean, he was just doing that stuff to people and just walking off the mound like, you know, hey, that's what I do. I'm Matt Brooks. I mean, that was awesome. So yeah, we're not gonna leave Matt out. He's we always make sure and give him a shout out with that. Now, last night Purdue. Okay, so they come in, they're undefeated, and you know everybody knows they're still undefeated, 9-0. Didn't really know what as far as us. I know you guys are doing advanced scouting. You're way deeper on this than we are, but we're kind of talking like, hey, we don't know what we have because you're looking at their opponents and you're like, well, what do we, how tough these guys are going to be. They were good. That's a good ball club. They kept. I mean, you talking about from a pitching standpoint. I mean, I don't. Do you remember how many arms they used? I don't. You may not either. But
I must have lost track. Yeah.
It was a lot, but they kept coming. They kept coming. Kept our, did a good job keeping our guys off balance. But that was another game, and I know it says 6-2, right? But I mean, that was really a 2-run game. Really, most of the night was a one-run game most of the night, and a break here or there. So what'd you guys see out of last night? As far as, I mean, that's game 5. You're really deep at that point, and guys are probably starting to get a little tired and whatever. But just reflect on last night a little bit.
Yeah, Purdue's a good club. We knew coming into it that they recruit at a high level, and they're going to have a lot of good players in there. They had a lot of good transfer pieces come in this summer, and a lot of junior college guys come in. So we knew kind of what to expect from a talent standpoint, and then they came out and played their style of baseball too. You always kind of question yourself, what time are you going to catch a team during the year? And we kind of caught them at a hot time. They were 8-0 coming in the game, and we're catching our footing, and from an offensive standpoint, it just felt like we couldn't get the big hit, right? I think we had 11 hits, 5 walks, a lot of base runners left on base last night, and with them changing their guys, getting some midweek work in, we just couldn't get that big hit going. So it happens in baseball, and there's things to work on from a situational standpoint to move forward to the weekend, but we'll learn from that.
And on the pitching front, I mean, you mentioned it before, but we'll quickly go over it again. I mean, we had a couple guys come out of the pen and really do some extended relief there and give you really a pair of nice 3-inning performances.
Yeah. I mean, I thought those guys did a great job. I mean, Colin Kramer, Tony Rossi. I'm good for those guys to get back out. I think Quentin Martinez looked really good at the back end of the game, and Colby Bruce, couple tough breaks. I mean, that happens. He's going to bounce back, without a doubt. I mean, Paxton Thompson too. I mean, he's getting his feet wet, and he's going to be just fine. We have a lot of confidence in Paxton Thompson. He's an outstanding kid. He's got great stuff. So he's going to get rolling here soon. I mean, I think that's like a recurring theme, right? Like we're, each guy's going to have opportunities to keep getting after it. We've had some ups and downs, but I mean, at the end of the day, these guys work hard. They compete. They compete their tails off. And sometimes that's baseball. You get some tough breaks. So, these guys are going to be back after it in no time. Like Coach said, some good opportunities to learn from last night's game. We knew that they were going to be competitive and a hard-nosed bunch. We'll get back on track.
Now, speaking of tough breaks, so Kevin, you gonna tee this one up, or you want me to take the fall for this?
Go ahead and do it.
Okay. So we know we're on the show. We do shows with Woody, and we got coaches here. Coaches are never going to comment on anything related to umpires, and we respect that. Although sometimes in the stands we comment on it. Actually, not sometimes, all the time. But as far as this goes, we're not going to put anybody on the spot and ask for comments on umpires. But I mean, Woody got ejected last night. I mean, that's no secret. Everybody knows that. Certainly, everybody that was in the stadium knows that. Woody got ejected last night. Without making comment on the circumstances, we are kind of curious here at Diamond Niner Report. We want to know if perhaps maybe Doc B got you guys some TrackMan data on that hat throw from Woody, because I mean he took his cap off, and I mean it looked like the Woody of old, back in Chapel Hill or something. He was fully extended. He threw that hat. So any data on that?
I mean, the data says he went full send. Full send on the hat throw. It was good.
I mean, I was figuring that, I don't know if you got any spin rate data, but I was figuring it's probably at least 75 miles an hour. I mean, for a hat, it's pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of air friction in that hat.
I felt bad for the hat. So, all right, there you go. Maybe you know what maybe we'll have Doc B look into that. We'll effort that and see what he can get on that.
We'll get some more extensive data for you next time around.
We'll dig in and see what TrackMan had to say about the hat throw, but I thought it was awesome.
The hat path.
Yeah. Well, when we get him, we cannot forget that, Kevin. We get him back in here. We got to put him on the spot and ask him how he felt about it.
I don't think he felt great about it.
Well, I know he's mad at the time, but I mean, now that he's had some time to reflect, he might feel a little better, about the toss. That's all I'm saying. We're not gonna talk about umpires. We love umpires. For any of you that are listening, we love each and every one of you, most of the time. All right, so let's look ahead. You guys have been doing your scouting work. Western Illinois. They were still on the road as a little bit ago, trying to get here, trying to get to Charlotte for a weekend series. They're out of the Summit League. They're 1-6. What you'll want to know about the one, folks, is that one was from a weekend series with Conference USA's Western Kentucky. They took the Saturday game in the middle from WKU. So they're the Western Illinois Leathernecks from the Summit League. What do we need to know about them, guys? What's the story on the Leathernecks?
Yeah, they're going to be an older bunch. You know, they have a bunch of older guys on the mound, guys with a lot of college experience. You know, I think there's a ton of college innings that's going to be in that staff that's going to roll out here. So they've been battle tested. They've a lot of 4th and 5th year guys with the COVID years. So they're not going to be scared. They're going to come in here. They're going to try to pitch their game, and they're going to play their style of baseball. That's for sure.
Okay, what do we need to expect from your perspective?
Yeah,
Coach Monty?
definitely, like Coach said, they got some returning pieces on the mound. They got some good returning pieces in the lineup as well. They're going to be a gritty bunch that, is going to make you earn everything you have. So can expect a lot of, competitive at-bats, for sure. So, be a good club. It's early in the year for everybody. So, like records don't tell the whole story. So, it's early in the year for everybody. There's some, certainly some great teams in college baseball that aren't off to, like the start that they all hoped for. So, it'll be a good series this weekend.
We do
Great
have some,
weather too.
Great
Weather's
weather.
going to be
It's gonna be
great.
awesome.
I was gonna say, Kevin, we got the same thing up on our phones. We got some.
We do
I
have
guess
some
it's not a
breaking-
secret now because it's on the internet. So Kevin, why don't you go ahead and,
Yeah,
and
we do have
break the breaking news?
the weekend starters have been announced. Spencer Geesting, Cam Hansen on Saturday, and great to see Will Lancaster scheduled to start on Sunday.
That's the news right
Yeah,
there.
that's-
Is Will on Sunday?
He took a fall on Saturday in the second game, and he was pitching a great game, made a great play. On the play, got injured, and so happy to see that he's back in the rotation. Not going to miss any time, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Will's a battle. He'll battle for you. He twisted his ankle on a bunt play. There I think in the 4th inning. Of game number 3, but man, we're glad to have him back. Our support staff. Shout out to Donna. It's Athletic Trainer Month.
That's right.
So shout out to her. She does a fantastic job with our guys. And all of them are in great hands. So he made a quick recovery and back at it on Sunday.
Definitely happy to see that as good news.
Yeah, and in general, I'll just say this on the position player front. We don't go into all the necessarily the injury report, but I will say that looks like we're starting to get a little healthier than we have been. We saw a pinch hit last night from Josh Madole. Austin Knight pinch hit last night as well. So those are a couple big pieces. Josh really hasn't. As far as being a starter, hasn't made his minor debut yet. So he's been out since the beginning of the season. So looks like old Niner baseball might be starting to get a little healthier than we started the season, which is going to be bad news for some folks. Don't you think?
I think so. When we get everybody back and healthy, I know we'll be able to play our style of baseball at a little bit more 100% capacity, and so that's going to be fun for us. And you saw it last night in the dugout when Josh and Austin both got those at bats. It lit a fire in the dugout. They were really excited to see their teammate back out there, coming off the injury list, getting ready to compete again. So it'll be good when we get those guys back 100%.
Couldn't be a better time either because we got this weekend and then next weekend at home versus App, and then after that it's conference play. I believe we got Western Kentucky coming in here, so that could not be happening at a better time. Starting to get some guys back and get. We were talking to some folks earlier today, and I said, "Hey, look, we haven't had our starting lineup on the field yet. That's still something we're working on. So it's good to see that coming around. That's the weather's warming up. Guys are getting healthy. That's spring baseball, man.
You got a tailgate scheduled?
We got a tailgate schedule. This is
Oh yeah.
we're living the life here. All right, so we're gonna start wrapping this up. Put this out here. You might feel a little on the spot, but you're gonna be fine. We always give Coach Woody the last word, his chance to say anything he wants to say. Guys, what do you got? You get the last words here before we close this out. And heck, if you want to tell a Toby Bicknell joke, you can do that. Whatever. It's up to you. You say whatever you want.
Toby's probably listening, so I won't throw him under the bus. But no, the word I got, the student section's been phenomenal. It's been great to see those guys out here. I got to go to quite a few football games and been to the basketball games this year. And like you tested to, it's been awesome to see them to come out to baseball games and be right by our dugout. We feel it. We feel it from inning 1 to the bottom of the ninth. And just happy those guys are coming out, and we're going to have great weather this weekend. And so looking forward to seeing you guys back out at the Hayes.
Yep, I second that as well. Student section's been awesome. Players feed off of it. I mean, the atmosphere is electric. So just keep packing the Hayes. Keep packing the Hayes. Come out to the ballpark this weekend. Don't forget that, this weekend and the next weekend we got App, Friday night game at Uptown. Like, man, let's go. Let's go. It's going to be a good one.
Ready.
I love it. I'm getting fired up just listening to this. All right, folks, we're out of time for this week. Look for this podcast wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to subscribe in order to be notified of new content. You can also find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, still no TikTok. Still not going to be TikTok. Reach out anytime you'd like. We love hearing from you all. If you're old-fashioned like us, just say hello at the ballpark, or even better, say hello at the tailgate. Come on out Saturday starting at 11. For Kevin, producer Brad, I've almost said Coach Woody because it's on my paper here. I got Coach Seb and Coach Monty, 40s guys. This has been Nick, and we'll see you at the Hayes. Woody puts a Go Niners in right. There you go.